What's going on, guys? My teacher in the house, and I'm here with my ADL round 1 match and team builder, of course. Your Royal Bomber for Bombies are taking on the Carolina Ponytas in an epic round 1 matchup. Now, because this is Monotype, of course, these matches can often provide really awkward matchups, and this is very much the case for the Ponytas here, as she has Mono Fighting. We, of course, have Mono Fairy, so we have the type matchup, but there are some coverage options on her team which can be a little scary, and various things like that. So we'll break down her team, then we'll talk about what I brought, and then we'll go through the matches that we've played. Mega Lopunny, of course, super powerful Mega, decent speed, decent attack stat, kind of frail otherwise, and fairly one-dimensional. Typically, you're going to see Fake Out on return. I don't think High Jump Kick has a place because of being against Fairy types. High Jump Kick doesn't do a lot, to be honest. The last slot is kind of up in the air, could be Power Up Punch to make return a little better. The only real coverage Mega Lopunny gets for Fairy types is Iron Tail, but Iron Tail is 75% accurate. Not really worth the risk, to be honest, so unlikely that she'll ever run that. But yeah, that's the only coverage it gets. Next up, of course, is Keldeo. Pretty solid special sweeper, gets Carmine, can be a good Z option as well. Again, Keldeo kind of doesn't really have good enough coverage to hit Fairy types. Like, the only coverage move it actually gets for Fairy types is Poison Jab, but Keldeo only has 72 base attack, so Poison Jab is not really that worth it. So if Keldeo does, of course, come, then Poison Jab is just simply not worth it. So yeah, kind of a bit of an awkward situation for Keldeo, but it's a pretty hard-hitting mon, pretty scary nonetheless. I do have Tapu Koko on my team, I do also have Whimsicott, so Keldeo has a rough matchup, but it's still a relatively strong Brain, so it's not too much of a surprise to see it. Breloom, of course, pretty decent, got 2 nice abilities in Technician and Poison Heal. Can be more offensive with Technician, can be more defensive slowly with like Subspore Seed. With Poison Heal, can be an interesting mon, definitely an interesting mon. Decent coverage options, does get Iron Tail, of course, which hits on that physical side, which Breloom is better at. Also gets Sludge Bomb and Venom Shock with their special moves, and they're not really that great on Breloom. So, yeah, unlikely that they come, but pretty solid nonetheless. Next up is Heracross, pretty scary mon actually. Heracross, if it's Scarfed, could be Scarf Moxie set, will outspeed any of my team that's not Scarfed. So that's something to bear in mind. I did make a decision to put one of my mons as a different set. I had it as a Scarf set originally, and you'll see in the matches that did come back to bite me, kind of, in one particular incident. The only coverage move that Heracross actually gets to hit fairies, though, is Venoshock, and Venoshock is special, so you're not really going to see that at all on a Heracross set, but it's there, nonetheless. Now, Virizion kind of doesn't really come this match. It's the worst grass fighting type to have in this match. Breloom is actually a lot better. Virizion gets no coverage to hit fairies, but it is quite bulky on the special side. Decent speed tier as well, so it can hit pretty hard, but it's unlikely that it comes because it just has a really awkward matchup. Ember, of course, pretty solid mon. Actually, one of her best mons to hit a lot of my team with coverage-wise. Gets a lot of coverage moves. Gets Gyro Ball, which is kind of funny. Gets Heavy Slam, Iron Head, Iron Tail, the Unreliable, of course, and Poison Jab. Does get a decent amount of coverage moves to hit fairies with, so definitely worth it. Definitely powerful. Does hit incredibly hard with that monstrous attack stat. Even things like Head Smash, Earthquake, of course, for Tapu Koko can be really annoying. But yeah, this thing hits like a truck, so it's really hard to deal with unless I get some Intimidates off with things like Grand Ball. But yeah, Scrafty, of course, terrible matchup, being quad weak to Fairy, but does have coverage moves, does have Iron Head, does have Iron Tail, of course, and Poison Jab. Does have ways to hit Fairies, but it's slow. Does have cool abilities though, Intimidate, Shadskin, Moxie, all good abilities. But yeah, really rough matchup, being quad weak to Fairy, so probably not the best choice at all. Next up is Primate. Primates can be scary with a Scarf or a Band. Mostly you see it banded, in my experience in Mono. But yeah, it hits incredibly hard, does get coverage in things like Poison Jab, Gong Shaw, does also get Iron Tail, but Iron Tail, as we've already mentioned, is pretty inaccurate, so not necessarily that worth it. Banded Poison Jab, one-shots a hell of a lot on my team, unless it's intimidated, so yeah, pretty scary. Definitely hard-hitting, got a decent attack stat, also got Defiant, of course, so if it does get intimidated, it gets an attack boost, which can be annoying, but yeah, pretty strong, nonetheless. And last but by no means least is Throw. Pretty decent bulk, decent HP stat, decent attack stat, and okay defenses. Really slow though, really lacking in a huge amount of power, but does get poison jab, so it can be useful, but it's not necessarily that good, in my opinion. Right, so let's talk about my team, what I brought to these matches. It is worth noting that even though we can change items and anything like that, I actually opted not to change anything in between matches. So this was the team I used for all matches played in this series. So, first up, you can probably guess on my screen, it is going to be Tapu Koko, running a choice spec set this week. I did debate on having this as Scarf, just to cover for Scarf Heracross, but I didn't need it. I had plenty of answers for Heracross on my team already, so there was no need to worry. Dazzling Gleam, Volt Switch, Discharge, Hidden Power Flying is there for Heracross. If it's not Scarfed, Hidden Power Flying one-shots it guaranteed. Doesn't really one-shot too much else except the Breloom, however, so that's something to bear in mind. Dazzling Gleam hits pretty much everything on his team. Volt Switch to pivot out. Discharge for a little bit of speed control. If I can get a power on anything that's faster, like any Scarfers, that's always quite nice to catch him on the switch. And that does, of course, allow Koko to just come in and put in a load of work. Next up is going to be Siren the Primarina running Fairy MZ. This is basically just there to nuke something. Anything bulky. Doesn't really want to take a Fairy MZ Moonblast. Psychic hits a lot of the team that I can't necessarily hit particularly hard. Sparkling Aria was there just for fun, honestly. I was debating on putting Scald on to go for burns, but it wasn't really that important, just wanted the damage. And Aqua Jet's just there to revenge kill anything on low health. Bulky, max special attack, max HP. Just means I live hits, just means I can take these poison coverage moves pretty comfortably, not really worry too much, and hit back just as hard. Next up is going to be Wigglytuff, running Rocky Helmet competitive. This is basically just in case he gets anything like webs up. There are no real webs on the team. This was originally a mistake. I probably should have had Frisk on it, but I had competitive anyway. This was basically just in case they had anything like lower stats. I can get a free special attack boost, which actually means I hit pretty hard. Fully physically bulky Rocky Helmet. Obviously, this is necessary because most of Mons are physical, so they will hit with contact moves, so Rocky Helmet will of course do chip damage back. Dazzling Gleam is my best move to hit the majority of his team. Psychic's mostly there for Ember, and just Wish Protect, just to pass off a bunch of health. Wigglytuff has an insane HP stat, so it makes it a lot easier. Next up is going to be Granbull. Granbull is mostly here for Intimidate. Leftovers there, of course, just to give me a bit of longevity. Play Rough does hit his team pretty hard. Bulk up, of course, to make myself even more defensive. We are fully physically defensive with this set. And Sub Protect, just to avoid any Toxics and anything like that. And just to live a bit longer, get some recovery if needed. Pretty solid set. This is basically just here to hit things pretty hard. It's basically there just to be annoying. To be honest, that's Granbull's main job for this match. Next up is going to be Whimsicott, running Choice Scarf Infiltrator. This is just in case any sub-efforts, any substitute sets, particularly like Sub-Seed Breloom, which could be a thing. This will allow me just to murder it with Hurricane or Moonblast. Giga Drain, of course, there for Keldeo, and U-Turn just to pivot out if I need to. But yeah, largely this thing comes in, clicks Moonblast, and does a huge amount of damage to everything that's not Ember. But Moonblast hits everything else pretty hard, so definitely worth it this week. Definitely very powerful. Excuse me. And last but by no means least is going to be Mega Altaria, of course. Nimbus, running a kind of interesting set. Dragon Dance, Earthquake, Return Roost. Pretty solid set in general. Hits pretty hard. Definitely well worth it. Looking at the team we've got. I can't actually remember if I had Cotton Guard on this originally. I might have done. I might have had it in one game. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah. Either way, this was the set I opted to go for in at least one of the games. I don't remember if I did have Cotton Guard in one game, but we will have a look when we actually look at the replays. But yeah, that was the team I brought for this series. I shall be right back while I set up for the matches, and then we'll break down what happened. See you in a minute. Alright guys, we're back, and we are here with the matches against the Carolina Ponytas As you can see from this, kind of brought the 6 that I expected. The Everizzy and the Throw and the Scrafty all had bad matchups, so this was the 6 that really should have come, and did come. So let's show you the merch, and let's show you how these went down. So, naturally my lead here is Granbull. I expect a Megalopony lead to come, which of course does. So we get the Intimidate and the Megalopony. This is kind of important, just because any move they go for is kind of bad. I go for Protect, scout out for potential Fake Out, which we do see of course, which is fine. She actually goes for Power Up Punch here, which is kind of funny. She crits and gets the boost back, but at this point I'm quite happy to set up a sub here. Now what this sub does is allow me to prevent any Toxics or anything like that coming, as she opts for Return, but a Play Rough almost takes out that Lopunny, which is really frustratingly lived. This was a roll anyway, but this was just an unfortunate one. I go to my Wigglytuff here, which was holding a Rocky Helmet, so basically she dies to anything, so Return of course kills, and my Wigglytuff's a decent form of health. As she opts to go for Keldeo here. Now, this was an interesting time for her to set up a bunch of Carmines. I'm quite free to just go for Wish here, get my health back, as she's going to keep trying to set up. I do go for Dazzling Gleam in, just to see how much it does. Doesn't do too much, but that's not too surprising. I'm not actually special attack invested. But she does set up a third time, which is kind of interesting. So I just go for another Dazzling Gleam for chip. Any chip damage on this thing is always nice. And then she goes for Secret Sword to wipe me out, and we reveal, or she reveals, that she is Life Orb. So I can go to my Whimsicott here, freely click Moonblast, which doesn't actually kill because of the special defense boost, but does drop the special attack. But we do see the Hidden Power, which is going to one-shot me. I believe this was Hidden Power Fire, I'm not 100% sure. But I can now freely go into Primarina and click Aqua Jet, take out this Keldeo, no problem whatsoever. Primarina's kind of in a good spot here. But does opt to go for Brailium. I do go for the Intimidate boost in case she was Technician, as we do see the dreaded Spore. Spore really annoying, but I am physically bulky, so I do not mind this situation. Goes into Primate, which was an interesting switch here. Obviously I don't wake up turn 1, but I get a lot of health back. And of course I wake up here. Just go for Protect, want to scout for Poison Jab, anything like that, as we do see the Poison Jab, which is fine. But at this point I'm free to click Play Rough. I do live anything because I am fully physically defensive here, and then we just one-shot with Play Rough. Makes a bunch of sense for us here. We're in a nice position here. Granbull's kind of a little low in health though, so Brailium can just come in and click Poison Jab on me. I do go for Protect to scout for the Spore, which she does opt to go for. But at this point actually the Spore doesn't really matter too much, because if she puts Granbull to sleep, then she can't put anything else to sleep. So at this point I'm like, okay, that's fine, I'll just go to my Altaria then, see what he wants to do. She does go for the Bullet Seed, which does crit me twice, which is kind of funny. But we see from this kind of damage that this Brailium is Technician, which is okay. I can then just Mega Evolve, go for a turn, take it down to the Focus Sash, which is kind of cool, as we do see Rock Tomb, which is a very cool little tech. Rock Tomb actually slowing my Altaria down to be slower than a Brailium, so my Altaria does go down, which is a little unfortunate, but Tapu Koko is free to come in here and outspeed, and I do opt to Volt Switch out here. This was basically just so I can go to Primarina. Primarina pretty much beats everything here. That's left, so Primarina was no matter. She does opt to go for Emboar, which was a little strange to me, so I did want to make sure what I was getting myself into. So I switched to Granbull, get the Intimidate off, and you can see the Poison Jab doesn't do a lot. Now at this point, this was kind of like a relatively stallish type game. As you do see, I go for Protect here, just to see what else he has, as we do see Iron Head, which means that Flinch Haxing is a thing, which is kind of annoying, but if I can still potentially set up, we're in a good position here, as she does try to poison me, but I have Bulk Up. So now I'm just getting more and more bulky, which is making it even harder for this Emboar to kill me, and you can just see it's going to be a lot of exchanges of Bulk Ups and Protects. This is basically to try and set up as best as possible, because if I can set up hard enough, my Play Rough's going to be doing a lot of damage. But yeah, I Bulk Up again here, so I'm now +2/+2, which is pretty solid, but my health is a little bit low. So, as expected, I Protect again here. Protect here again just makes a lot of sense. as we do see the Iron Head, of course. So now I'm a decent amount of health. Not a great amount, but a decent amount. As we do see the Iron Head come out again, but we go for Play Rough. We actually do over half. This would imply that the Ember has got a bit of bulk investment, because otherwise it would have done a little bit more. I did calc it. It should have done quite a lot more than that, but I put myself back at a decent amount of HP, as we do see the Iron Head again. And unfortunately this time I got flinched, which kind of sucks, but it happens, that's Pokemon. And then after that she crits me, just to make it even worse, right? So this was kind of annoying, of course, but Tapu Koko comes in, I do outspeed, no problem here. As you do see the hidden power. This hidden power, of course, is hidden power flying, so this will guarantee kill the Ember. And we now see Heracross left. Now, this proved that the Heracross was scarfed, because he would never outspeed my Koko otherwise. The crit kinda mattered, but not a lot. But yeah, Earthquake doesn't really kill Primarina, and I just go for style points by going for Fairy Z Twinkle Tackle, which guaranteed killed the Heracross. Didn't have to do that, to be honest, the Moonblast would have killed anyway. But yeah, that is game number 1. So, let's move over to game number 2. Now, this match was kind of a little bit of a rough start for us, so we're going to see it here. I need a Gramble again, don't see a reason why not. Forgetting about Defiant on Primeape, which was a little bit unfortunate. So we do see Primeape at +1, but I do live it because I'm fully physically bulky, but I get poisoned, which is really annoying. And then to add insult to injury, I missed the Play Rough, which is even more annoying, because now my Gramble's kind of useless at this point. So I switch out to Wigglytuff, thinking, okay, I might as well get some chip damage with the Rocky Helmet, but as you see, I get poisoned again. Really not a good start for us. This Primeape is in a good position here. I sack off Wigglytuff for the extra Rocky Helmet damage. Wigglytuff's not really doing a lot here. So I just go Whimsicott. Whimsicott outspeeds pretty comfortably, and we just go for Moonblast to pick up the kill. So we're 5-5, we're pretty much back into the game at this point. As we do see the Ember. Now, I don't want to stay in, so I just go for the Intimidate boost. As we do see Poison Jab come in to kill my Gramble. So, kind of an awkward situation here. I've lost my Intimidator, but Altaria can come in here and Mega Evolve. We do actually see here that I did change to Cotton Guard. I had Roost originally, but Cotton Guard was a lot more viable to me. The additional bulk is always nice. And we see Dragon Dance again. Now, this is basically set up for an Altaria sweep. That's basically the plan. I go for Dragon Dance again. This means that I guarantee outspeed everything with no problems whatsoever. The Poison Jab does chip me down a little bit, but as you can see, Earthquake now murders the Ember, and we are now suddenly back in the game. Does bring out Lopunny. Lopunny doesn't really want to take much from this thing, to be honest. The Fake Out will chip me down a little bit, but not really significantly. And we do, of course, just one-shot with Return. Return, of course, being Fairy type now, because I have the Pixelate ability up. So, yeah. Here comes Breloom. I do actually outspeed anyway, so we do take it down to the Sash again. No big deal. As we do actually see Spore again, which was a mistake on my end. I should have switched out, let something else take the Spore. Because now after a couple of Rock Tombs, I actually am not faster anymore. So, but yeah. I got pretty unlucky here because at no point did I wake up. Had I have woken up at any of these points, we actually could have still killed the Breloom. And then to add insult to injury, she crits the Rock Tomb at the end. The crit didn't really matter, it was a roll to kill me anyway. But Breloom is still slower than Koko, as we do interestingly see Mach Punch, which is kind of a strange bring, to be honest, against my team. Because fighting does nothing to me. But this was the mistake that I think lost her the game, letting Keldeo go down to Dazzling Gleam. The crit kind of mattered, unfortunately, but yeah. As we do remember, this Heracross is scarfed, but at this point I can just freely go Whimsicott to take the hit, as she does interestingly go for Stone Edge, kind of predict me a little bit, but I'm faster because I'm also scarfed, and Hurricane picks up the kill, and we take the series to nothing. So, we move on to the next round to play Exo Stomp. That series is coming real soon, so look forward to that. We've actually played the series already, but yeah, I'll talk to you guys about that very soon. So, I'm gonna get on out of here. My name is Robombi Teacher. I'm your coach of the Robomber for Bombies. Stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.